on the Direct Mind. We hope to bring you content so that each author, artist, business owner, and creators can be able to discuss their platform, how they think, and how they've been able to generate an audience around themselves, their product, platform, or even a movement. All right, so today we bring you an incredible inventor building a cableless music experience, the founder of BuyAudios, Erik Young. We found his company through an Instagram ad for investors in February 2021. He brings a disruptive, ingenious concept to the audio speaker industry that is now available to the public. Tell me about yourself, man. Tell me about yourself. I know we met through mutual companies. I was looking for an ad and I saw your company come up. And through Instagram, it was really interesting for me, the journey, because I've been looking for content such as yours for a long time, a really long time. Like, I'm an audiophile, if anything. I have a whole bunch of speakers, portable Bluetooth, like we can keep going and going and going.
All right, so I'm an engineer first in regards to like what I was doing. So when it comes to audio, if we're talking about my desire, my love for audio, it's been in my blood for the most part. So when I was younger, I think I started off around 15 to 16, and I used to put speakers in my car. And so I learned about audio in regards to just how you wire your systems up, how you connect subs, the difference between the different frequency responses, that type of stuff. So even to this day, every single vehicle I have, I got to put music in it. So like I became that. If I get a car from the dealership, it's not coming home. As soon as I pull it off the lot, it's going to the music. Like, we finna go put some 12s in there. I don't play. So like right now I gotta get a truck because when we launch in Atlanta, I need to be able to like move a large volume of speakers. It's not enough to be able to just use a vehicle. And then sometimes I need to put hook up a trailer. So lately I've been renting trucks, and that's expensive. When I tell you that truck is not coming home, that truck is going to the music shop. We're gonna put some speakers under the back seat.
So that's gonna be a question I'm gonna ask you about later. All right, tell us about it.
So Audios is available on Republic. It's equity crowdfunding. So the anybody can invest. It starts at $100, and you will get stock. So you'll be a part owner in the company.
Stop flying.
But like you said, Audios is the first cableless DJ speaker. And so for the past 30, 40 years, we've always had to use cables. And if anyone has ever been to an event, maybe you've never set up, but you would see that it takes a while, maybe like an hour, 2 hours prior to
it's an issue. It's a
huge issue. For people in the industry, they know that the cables can get expensive. And so cables might range from $50 to $200 per speaker, because you got to run a power cable and an audio cable. And then if you need the speakers to be located where you really want them to be, that's a long cable. It's not a 3-foot cable, it's usually a 100-foot cable. So for people in this industry, it's going to save them a lot of money. And it's also save you time, because with Audios, all you have to do is place the DJ speaker where you want it and press the power button, and the speakers build their own wireless network. So it's literally the average Joe, the average Jane can become a professional. All you have to do is just plug the speaker up, and then the speakers do everything else for you. So that's kind of like what Audios is. The problem that we're solving are the cables. You're going to save time, you're going to save money. And so that's the value that we bring to the market.
So how did you develop such an innovative, multifunctional, and I want to also say efficient design? What was the problem other than the cables? Like, I know you guys are solving the cables cost, the time, and that limitation of space, right, that we're having. But you said you guys wanted to start with the B2B market, and also you wanted to solve issues for performances now since we have COVID, and just removing all those cable services. For example, I was dealing with an artist, and we were just discussing how that we would be able to perform virtual and have somebody be able to enjoy that service without having to leave. if they were going to be performing at, I would say, like Symphony Hall, or they would take it down to the Baltimore Metro, what's it called, the Hippodrome, right downtown. Go ahead. What was that problem for you that I know your why, but what was that problem you wanted to solve?
Yeah, so that kind of like was the problem initially.
Yeah.
How I even started tinkering with speakers in general was back in 2015. I decided to leave my previous job at HP and just start a startup. So I had a meetup. I just met a guy randomly. He was an OG, and he said, you know, you should pick the easiest thing for you to do. And so making like a smart speaker, for lack of a better word, was the easiest of my 10 ideas. Right now, I think I know that I have 7 patents, right? And each one of those patents became something. And so I had like a notebook with 10 other patentable ideas, and the speaker was one of them. And so when he told me to choose the easiest idea, that's when I decided to start messing around with it. I had not really like 100% decided to go into that direction. And so I was on a ski trip with some of my homeboys. And then we decided to have a house party, but everybody had their own Bluetooth speaker. And so the Bluetooth speaker, what we ended up doing was, because you couldn't connect 2 Bluetooth speakers, we ended up putting all the Bluetooth speakers on the table, the dining room table, and choosing and allowed us. And they were like, yo, E, they were basically saying like, bro, you're an engineer. You might as well invent something, make the Bluetooth speakers connect. And I was like, you know what, I can make that happen, because I had already been messing around with the speakers. So that's what I initially did. I initially created 16 Bluetooth speakers that could connect to each other without you having to pair. And then from there, I flew to China to see how much it was going to cost for me to make it. When I went to the factories, the PCB, that's like the electronics board, figured out how much it was going to cost, and realized that I couldn't build a Bluetooth speaker and make money off it. The margins were too low. So then I went back to the drawing boards and I built another type of, so over from the end of 2015, primarily 2016, all the way leading up to 2018, I kept building these different types of speakers. So the next one I built was a smart speaker. Yeah. So that was right around when Alexa started having the voice control speaker. I built a voice control speaker, and then you could do Alexa and Google Home. So no matter what you said, it was going to respond. So you see how I'm going down this route, found out Amazon dropped the price to $99. I was like, man, I can't build a company off that because the margins are too low. So I scrapped that, went to the next one. So then I built some speakers for businesses. And so in San Francisco, I started building these smart speakers that I installed in businesses and whatnot. But it was always the same scenario. And then finally with the DJ speaker, it was just completely accident. My homeboy Chad asked me to help him set up at the cigar bar in San Francisco. And then we were running cables. This was my first time. I didn't know it was an issue. I didn't know anything about cables. But when we started running cables, it was a lot of work. We had to tape it up and make sure that people weren't tripping. It was just a whole lot. I was like, yo, this is ridiculous.
How long did it take to do that first event?
It took like an hour, and it was only 4 speakers. And it was just too much. It was just too much work. And so I was like, yo, we'll stop being cheap, get some Bluetooth speakers. And that's when he told me there was no such thing as a Bluetooth DJ speaker. And then that's when the aha moment went. And I was like, oh, I mean, what you mean? Yeah. He basically broke it down like Bluetooth won't work in that DJ setting. It's cool for a little pool party or something, but it won't work in the professional audio space. And so I was like, you know what? I got something for you. I took his speakers and I made them wireless. He had some QSCs. So I made those QSCs wireless. It was like 4 QSC 12s. I made those wireless. We set up the next week and it worked. And that's when I knew, like, yo, we got something here. And then he told me that DJ speakers, a good one, will cost you about between $800 and $1,000. So then that also solved my problem for margins. So it was enough money to be made if we built. So that was kind of like how it all started in regards to just me figuring out that initial problem. But then after that, I hit the road. So then I took I built some MVPs and I went to Houston, Atlanta, Vegas, Miami, and I shadowed other DJs. I would spend like a week with them, setting up us testing it. And that's when I discovered that the real 100% bona fide problem are the cables. It's the cables, right? because the
Yeah,
cables is like,
yeah. Like
costs
I'm gonna say
money.
this. I'm gonna add to it. The mic cables itself, they don't even have that solution. I've been looking for somewhere I could just do like a mobile mic and talk from 100 feet away, and that's been an issue as a musician I've had to face. Like they don't do that. It's not there. It's not
Oh,
something.
see, I didn't even think about that. And
Yeah,
so the reality with wireless though is that
yeah,
there are still environments that wireless is not going to be ideal. So that's why with audios, we have redundancy. You can still use cables. You don't have to give it up.
yeah,
You can still use Bluetooth.
yeah.
You can still use any kind of wireless we support that because there'll be cases where wireless doesn't make sense. But then we want to give you that added benefit of being able to go wireless when you need to. So we can still, if you have a nightclub or a venue, you can still buy audios and install them on the ceiling. We call them, we fly them up. You can still use it in certain environments. So just want to make sure that's clear. Like we support everything that you've always done, but then we also add wireless capabilities for situations where you need to go wireless.
So more than that, I know you said the DJ setting is like not necessarily optimal for Bluetooth. What separates your speakers from, let's say, the top end of that party box I can see from JBL? Why is yours?
Also,
Yeah,
the party box, in order to make sure that our speaker can still be used in the traditional sense with cables or at places that require a 1200 watt speaker, we had to support 1200 watts. So, and the sound quality had to be the same. When you go wireless, in order to increase battery life, you usually reduce sound quality and you reduce
oh,
volume. So one of the first major differences is that we built a traditional DJ speaker that happened to have batteries. So we support 1200 watts, it's 600 watts RMS, which is extremely difficult to run that amount of power off batteries. So you won't see a degradation in quality or any difference. It is literally a wireless DJ speaker. With the Bluetooth speakers, usually they run between 300 watts. They might be running at 100 watts RMS or even less because they need to increase battery power. Also, when you go Bluetooth, the maximum sound quality is 24-bit, 96 kilohertz. And that's only if you're going from an iPhone and you purposely make it that resolution. So you may have to go to Tidal or something. With audios, our default is 24-bit, 96 kilohertz. You can go less sound quality or you can go higher to 24-bit, 192 kilohertz. And so what we wanted to do is make sure that we weren't the reason your sound quality was terrible. You will be the reason. This whatever you put in is what you get out. If you put in Bluetooth quality audio because you
yeah,
connect to Bluetooth, you
yeah.
get out Bluetooth. But if you put in a high definition signal or set a high definition, meaning
High fidelity.
uncompressed. Yeah, uncompressed. Yeah,
Yeah,
uncompressed, mean you get out uncompressed. So those are a lot of differences. Our battery is the competitor that we saw. I won't mention their name. Our battery is 7 times larger because it has to be because we're pushing much more power.
yeah.
So if you were to compare apples to apples, if our speaker was running at 100 watts and their speaker was running, you turn the volume so they both run at 100 watts, our speaker would last 7 times longer. So these are a lot of.
It's crazy. You just mentioned that. I was actually having that discussion with a guy over at a T-Mobile store. They were trying to sell me one of the JBL boom boxes, and I was like, dude, it's $300 for 6 hours of battery. I could do better than that anywhere else. But what?
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
But in their defense, though, if that's all it's doing, that means that it might be using a little bit more power. So it's a
oh,
sacrifice. It's more volume and power and quality, the
yeah,
less battery. It's science. It's
gotcha,
literally you have to. It's a trade-off. And
gotcha.
so we're gonna do some really, really cool things with the batteries. It's too premature for me to announce it, but I think we're gonna change the way we use batteries. We definitely going to change the way we're gonna flip it upside down in terms of how
So,
batteries are
one
utilized.
one question for you then, sustainability wise for the batteries, um, how long would that life cycle last for one of those kind of batteries?
So the batteries, when you're saying life cycle, you're talking total lifetime of the battery.
Yeah, Like, is it like
So
10
batteries,
years? Is it like 5?
so we aiming for 3 to 5 years. So it's also a trade-off, right? So with batteries, so let's talk about Tesla.
Right,
Inside your Tesla, you have these batteries. The older Tesla, the new Tesla, they changed the battery that they
right.
created. They had 18650s. That's the battery inside. So there's a trade-off because it's all just math and science.
Yeah.
So if you want to increase total battery life, meaning how many years the battery lasts, then you charge it less. So you won't charge it to max. And by not charging it to max, you increase the life. If you charge the battery to its max, you reduce the total battery life. And so what we're trying to do is find that sweet spot where we target between 3 to 5 years. So we won't charge our battery to 100%. It's going to be somewhere between 90 and 100%. So we can try to increase the battery life. So that's basically how all lithium ion batteries work. It's
Okay.
literally the higher you charge it, the lower the less time you have in terms of total battery life.
All right. So let me ask you this. I know you said, well, I spoke with your marketing lady. She said more than 10 hours of battery life, maximum 100 at 100% is 1200 watts. You just covered the 20 kilohertz, 24-bit, 192 specific audio. Now, what does your speaker do that you wouldn't know?
So let me qualify that, right?
Okay, go ahead.
If you're pushing 10 hours,
Yeah,
it's not going to be at that 1200 watts. That's scientifically impossible,
right,
right? So like battery life is it's the watt hours. So the watt hours is like the size of your gas tank in your car. So you're saying I got a 30-gallon tank, and then the miles per gallon is the watts, how much power you use.
yeah,
So if you're getting 20 miles a gallon,
yeah,
you got a 20-gallon tank.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So the math is so it's the same thing. So at
yeah,
1200 watts,
yeah.
our battery is fully populated. The battery is 760 watt hours. So if you were pushing 760 watts, that battery would last an hour. So what happens though with the amplifier, and so this is like this is just a side effect of modern technology. With a D-class amplifier, even if you're running at 1200 watts, it's not 1200 watts continuous. It's
Right,
1200 watts when the bass hit, and then it might
right,
be 100 watts when it's the voice. And so every time it's like 12, boom, 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 boom. So what ends up happening is that the battery life is a lot longer because the amplifier is efficient. So I just want to make sure that everything's accurate. So at full power, we're targeting 4 hours where you're running at full power, where there is no difference between if you plug in a power cord or if you're running off the battery. In economy mode, we'll stretch it to 10 plus hours. So economy mode is saying, allow us to control the power based on the music you plan so that
right.
we can extend the battery life. So it's like, it's going to be a lot of little tricks and stuff that we plan. Everybody's doing it. All of the competitors, JBL, everybody's there.
Is it like a built-in I don't want to say semiconductor because of the issues we're having right now, or is it like an app?
No, it's just software. So all of they do, everybody, in order to extend battery life, you kind of like gotta control how the volume is. So most of the competitors, they just turn the volume down, but they don't tell you about it. But
Oh,
audio, we want to make you aware of what's going on and give
yeah,
you the choice. So
yeah,
the way we see it is, let's give, just like when you have these new hybrid cars, we want to give you the choice. You want to run at full power with no battery saving, max performance, or do you want to go in economy mode? Kind of like the Corvette. You can run, it's a sports car, right? So you can
right,
run all cylinders, or you can put it in the economy mode and save gas. We want to give you that option as opposed to playing tricks in the background and just turning the volume down and the person doesn't realize it.
right. Um, that also leads into the next question. If I'm just a guy walking down the street, what are some features you think we wouldn't even touch or know about your speaker?
So what we're gonna do, we're gonna create some tutorial videos,
Yeah,
and they're gonna show why audios is different and how it's so easy to set up.
yeah,
So you would touch those things, but the average Joe would know about it until we show you. And we have the stuff that we're gonna do we have 2 patents granted, and then there's another one on the way that is it pertains to the reason why it's the easiest thing to set up. But I
Okay.
don't know, I can't imagine there's no features that you wouldn't touch
No, like I'm
because,
just walking down the street. If I looked at your design, or I looked at your thing, and I see it's playing on two separate sides, what's something that's like a hidden perk or like a gem that you would know that somebody that just looks at it doesn't know? Is it like,
mm,
I know I can go specific, but I'm just letting you open book.
I don't know what, I don't know what would be a hidden gem.
The hot swap batteries. I can keep going.
Oh
The
yeah. The hot, so yeah, so right now,
yeah
so that everybody understand where is Audios right now. So with
yeah
Audios, I've taken, me and my co-founder, we've taken Audios as far as we can go on our own dime. And so now we're crowdfunding to pay for manufacturing. So what's about to happen after April 30th is that we'll have the funds because you all invest in Audios, and that's going to give us the ability to finish manufacturing. So there's this process called DFM, design for manufacturing. So that's when you take what you see in the background, what we've done, and then we have to make a few adjustments so we can mass produce it really easy. And so the hot swappable battery is one of those things where we've created and built it hot swappable, but now we need to go to the battery factory and we need to create, it's called a pack. We make it a battery pack so that you can pull it in and out easily. So that's something that'll be a hidden feature. It has to be, it has to make, on this first generation, it has to make financial sense.
right.
But right now, that's what it is. We hope that we can go with the hot swappable battery and so that people, so the audience, so you know what hot swappable means. It means while the speaker is still playing, you can take the battery out and the speaker won't turn off and stop playing music and put another battery in.
That's
That's
crazy.
what hot swappable means.
That's
So like
crazy.
that hasn't been done. I don't think it's been done. I'm not sure, but I don't think
Nah,
that's been
nobody's
done.
doing that.
All right, yeah. So
Yeah.
like we've already built it, we've tested it, but we got to make sure that it's not going to increase the price the batteries and the speakers too much when we go through DFM. So we'll have our final answer about whether or not we'll leave it hot swappable for generation one.
Okay.
Definitely
How many
Gen 2.
generations y'all planning on that? On that note?
So audio system, we thinking way further in the future. The DJ speaker is just our entry, is just the beginning, right? We needed to build a product that we can make money off of and maintain the company. But in the reality, the truth is that the Audiosis goal is much bigger than the DJ speaker. It's not even like the DJ speaker is just like a small 5% of the total vision. So we definitely want to build not just professional audio. We want to build consumer audio so that you can buy audios at Best Buy. But then we also want to use our patents to apply that to other wireless products. And then also on the software side, on the app side, we have some really big plans. The
All
only
right.
way to become a unicorn, you could do it
Yeah.
through pure hardware, but
Yeah.
it's easier if you have hardware and software. So we have way bigger, grandiose plans. Everything
Oh,
can happen. It's just a matter of execution. We've already built this stuff. It's just a matter of execution and market adoption.
all right. So that leads into our first break.
At Audios, our engineers have created a breakthrough in wireless loudspeakers. We developed a new way to experience sound. Audios, the future of loudspeakers.
Hi, I'm Erik Young, the co-founder and CEO of Audios, and we're building the first fully wireless loudspeakers for venues and event spaces. With Audios, all you have to do is place the speakers where you want them and press the power button. The speakers automatically build their own wireless network, connect to each other, and start streaming. That means you have 0 cables and 0 cable replacements. A 300-person event that would take 1 hour to set up only takes 10 minutes with Audios. Our wireless speaker doesn't need Bluetooth or Wi-Fi router and has 2 patents granted. To learn more, go to republic.co/audios. For a limited time only, anyone can invest and become a part owner.
Now, as an industry disruptor, you work with local artists. I saw those videos. You had DJs. I saw the events where you had the circles for people separating, social distancing. You've also worked with regional brands, like, for example, HP, and they're also national and international. But eventually, y'all want to impact the global economy, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. So that's when software comes into play. In
All
order
right.
to expand globally, you
Mhm.
either have the money to do so, or you have another reason that people are using your product overseas. And so that's where the software would come into play. Initially, we're going to focus on the US and Europe because it's easier for us to get the certifications to sell in the US and Europe. And then we'll start to expand to other places that it makes business sense.
So, what's your mission as a owner, businessman? What's your mission?
To be for me, it's more of a personal mission. I just want to create a new path for Black people, right? So growing up, and a lot of people may not know my background. I was running the streets, like I was a hustler, right? And so when I was 17, I ran into my daddy. That's what he had been doing for 20 years. We linked up. He showed me the game. Some years later, I almost got in a lot of trouble and decided like he just was like, yo, you got a brain, you could be somebody. And he just was explaining to me like it's not too late for you, you don't have a felony. And so he kept pushing me to go to college. So then I went and enrolled at Valencia Community College, got my AA degree, transferred to University of Central Florida, got my computer engineering degree, and then I went and started working at HP. So for me, Audios is bigger than the speaker. As a Black person, we have, at least I'm gonna speak for myself. I hate making generalizations about the whole population.
Yeah,
For me, I had a couple of choices. I
yeah,
could play sports,
yeah,
I could try to be a rapper,
yeah,
or I could sell dope or be a hustler or scammer, whatever kind of like I could
yeah.
pick my poison as a criminal. And so my goal is to hopefully I could get to the point where I unlock another choice, where somebody as an adolescent is thinking about maybe I could do tech. We could make as much money as an athlete, more money than an athlete, more money than a rapper. I don't have to worry about the police, and it's okay to be a nerd. It's okay to be smart. You feel me? So that's what Audios is about for me. I'm hopefully I can be one of the people that pave the way. And I see it coming. I see that wave. You know how you see that wave? You're like, all right, I'm gonna jump on this wave. I see the wave coming because it's not just me, it's a lot of other Black founders
Yeah,
that are in the industry. And that's what this is about for me. This is less about
yeah,
success. This is not about cash. This
yeah.
is about us being trailblazers and figuring out that blueprint so that we can impart that blueprint to other people who got good ideas. So that's what that's about for me.
Okay. How do you think you can impact? I don't want to just say be successful. How do you think you can impact the industry right now?
We're gonna change the industry regardless. Like it's
Right,
over with. That's
right,
already happened. So we've
right.
already saw in the background some competitors are starting to like pay attention. They following us on the IG, and I'm pretty sure because I worked in corporate that they have somebody taking a look at, hey, can we do this? What are they doing? What's gonna happen is you had all these years you had cable speakers, and now Audios is trying to create a new branch, right? We want to create a new branch.
Yeah,
They're saying they're cable speakers. It's gonna be rough at first. It's not gonna be perfect. But
right.
that's what happens when you create a new technology. But eventually, the competitors have a choice. They're going to allow us to stay the only cableless DJ speaker and make all the money, or they're going to respond and then they're going to also make a competitive product. Now,
Yeah.
who's going to benefit is the industry. The DJs are going to benefit. The event planners are going to benefit. But
I have
that's only
one question to ask on that. Do you feel like your design would be taken advantage of by like these Chinese companies where they come in and they reverse engineer something, or no?
yeah. I mean, that's if somebody was to copy Audios, that's the biggest sign of flattery, right? That
Right,
means that we did something right.
right,
And so what I learned at HP is that we should spend less time worrying about them copying us and spend more time worrying about that next version of it. Because if they copying us, what that means we're the leaders. If every single generation, every year, so 2021, we introduced the first cableless DJ speaker. 2022, we introduced another speaker that they copied. Then who are they following? So it's okay. Like I don't. When I first started out, I was worried about it, but
yeah,
that's a if you create something that's worth copying, you've done something amazing. That's a fact. If you created something that's worth
yeah,
copying,
yeah.
you've done something amazing, and that'll be a nice little check. I mean, that's the truth.
Right, right.
So I'm confident that we're going to change the industry because we're not going to let up.
Okay.
People, we're going to launch and people are going to use the product. Yeah, like I say, we know there are going to be flaws because it's the first of a kind. And then once we start to figure out how it works, if the competitors choose to leave us alone, then that's great. We can make a lot of money. But if they
Uh,
try to jump in and make a cableless option too,
yeah.
that's the biggest form of flattery because that
Yeah.
means that we did something significant.
To add to that, why speakers? Why not sell people the software, and why now?
The software is not valuable. So how it works in Silicon Valley
Yeah,
is nothing is valuable unless you've proven with data that it is.
yeah,
So an idea is worthless. Most people walking around with ideas and they're afraid of people stealing their ideas, but it has no value until you prove that the market is willing to pay for it.
right,
So on the surface, it sounds like a good idea. Yo, just sell your patents yourself. But we haven't proven that someone would desire a cableless DJ speaker. And we haven't proven that the things that we patented are valuable. So we have to build it first. And when we prove that, yo, this thing has value, then that's when a Bose or JBL might make an offer to acquire, to purchase Audios.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's the reality.
Wow. Why now?
It's time, right?
Yeah,
It's time. It's been 40 since the beginning of speakers, right?
yeah,
We've always run cables, and wireless has now caught up to the point where we can mitigate interference and latency. So for everybody listening, the biggest risk to this business model is interference and latency. So interference is when there are a bunch of other wireless signals around and the music is not reaching the speaker, it's getting cut out. And
right,
so that's one risk. You have interference with mics, you have
yeah,
interference with any type of wireless.
yeah,
And latency is how long does it take from the music being played on your device, like your phone, to come out of the speaker.
yeah.
And so what's happening is as wireless is maturing, now we have an alternative to Bluetooth. Now is the time for us to start pushing the limits of it. And that's why I'm kind of excited is that as competitors enter the market, they
Yeah,
have bigger pockets than us.
yeah,
So if they develop something like some new type of wireless technology, we all get to benefit and use it. Everybody's going to benefit from us pushing the limits. The
yeah.
same thing happened with CDs. We went from CDs and we went to DVDs. We went from DVDs and we went to Blu-ray.
Right,
This is the type of thing that is happening in the wireless
right.
industry. So I think right now is the time, to answer your question, now is the time because wireless is finally getting to the point where we can mitigate latency and we can mitigate interference.
Because that's been an issue. I'm gonna add to what you said. I've had sometimes I'll be on a Bluetooth device and I'll pick up somebody's phone call off the random, and I was like, I was listening to a full on conversation on a walkie talkie one time, and I was just trying to listen to my music, and it just
Yeah.
picked up, and I was like, whoa, I didn't know that could happen.
Yeah, so that's the thing. That's just the reality of wireless in general.
Yeah,
But we get to that point. We turn in the corner, and so Audios wants to be at the first at the door. We turn in the corner in terms of wireless and what's possible. We just want to be some of the first ones to take advantage of that.
One more thing. What is the most important or essential feature of the Audios as a brand or product?
So that's what the patents are about. It is the ease of connectivity. It's how we allow the wireless networks to be built and how easy it is. So when you think Audios, DJ speakers, anybody can be a professional. You
Right.
don't have to have experience. As long as you are strong enough to put the speaker on the pole
Yeah,
and press the power button, you
yeah,
are a professional DJ.
yeah.
So, so that's what we want to like really drive home is that Audios is going to be the easiest speaker to set up. You don't have to deal with Bluetooth pairing. You don't have to deal with like creating a Wi-Fi network and signing in with passwords. And that's going to really change the game. That's going to change the game as we make other products.
Yeah.
Now, there are other things that we have patents pending. And if those patents get granted, then we'll add to that list in terms of why Audios is different from competitors.
All right. Do you feel even more to that? Do you feel like having like a waterproof design somewhere you can like take the speaker everywhere? Do you think that would benefit?
Not yet. So
Yeah,
that's called IP, right? So like, we're not right in the beginning. We're gonna focus on making a traditional DJ speaker that is not waterproof.
yeah,
The the paint on the outside is water tolerant, so the water hits the paint on the outside of the beat off, but is in no way, shape, or form waterproof. We wouldn't
okay,
even call it portable like a DJ speaker, like
yeah,
a Bluetooth speaker. It's a DJ. It's like a QSC K12.
yeah,
Like it's a DJ speaker that's
yeah,
wireless, so it's not a Bluetooth speaker. Down the road, when we make a large Bluetooth speaker that you can buy at Best Buy, then that version will be waterproof because it's going to be smaller, it's going to be lighter, it's a different type of speaker. It's like a car is a vehicle. You got a Corvette, you got a Toyota Corolla.
okay,
You know, they're meant for two different things. So the first speaker that we have is not meant to be out in the rain. It's not meant to be carried around like a large Bluetooth speaker. It's not, that's not what we built.
All right, so moving on to our next part of the podcast, we're going to talk about some themes for you, your past, your future, and also your present. So I'm going to start with the past here. So every great idea had basically, or any brand, or like we can even say Nike, any business had origins that were like projected, unexpected, and unusual. Where did you begin that journey in this field?
The
And
journey for Adios or just an engineering journey?
just all over it, for the business, the ideas. How did you form that? What influenced you?
So
Yeah,
so like I was saying previously, Adios started. It kind of like it was a combination of a number of things. It was just
yeah,
I chose to work on speakers because it was the easiest thing for me to do in my bag of inventions. And what drove me to like really start to work on it was when I went on a ski trip, and we wanted to throw a house party, and we chose the largest of the Bluetooth speakers, because back then you couldn't connect more than one Bluetooth speaker at a time.
right,
And so once I went and built prototypes so that we could connect 16 Bluetooth speakers
yeah,
at one time,
yeah,
that was the foundation for Audios. It still was going to be a few years later
yeah,
that I built the first DJ speaker.
yeah,
So what I wanted to know was, can I build a business? So I went to China a couple times, each time figuring out how much it was going to cost to manufacture my prototypes. And once I realized that the margins weren't high enough, the profit margins weren't high enough, I just went to the next idea, and I built this voice control speaker. And then I built the speaker that we installed in Little Star Pizza in San Francisco. We were installing speakers in the businesses, but every single time the margins weren't high enough.
right,
And then with the DJ speaker, it was the same thing. I helped my buddy Chad set up at the cigar bar, and we were running cables. It was a complete accident. I was like, yo, go get some Bluetooth speakers. And he told me there was no such thing as a Bluetooth DJ speaker. And so with that, I made he had some QXT K12s. I made his QXT K12s wireless. We set up the next week. They was doing salsa. They had no idea that it was my wireless speakers, and I was in there. I can't salsa, but I was in there like, yes, because it was a good look. And then I found out that the margins were really high.
wow,
Well, I wouldn't say the margins are high, but the margins were high enough to build a business. And so I was really happy.
yeah. So explain that Afro tech journey you had. You know, like you went from
Oh,
HP.
Afrotech, so it's,
Yeah,
I need to unleash some videos too. So Afrotech was a journey. Like, so when I first found out about Afrotech, I just ended up going, after the first year, it was in San Francisco. It was real small. I ended up just going to like the after party, and I was like, yo, this is dope. And then the second year, I was trying to get into the pitch competition, but I didn't get selected.
yeah,
And so I just attended Afrotech, and then I was there at the convention, and I saw the DJ speakers around in these different little breakout rooms and stuff, and I was just enraged, like, oh, I wish I had not at Afrotech. I was upset that that I didn't get funding to build the speaker, because raising money is really hard for minorities. Only if you Black, only 1% of all investment, venture capital investment, go to you. It was worse back then, but I'm talking about 2021. So if you're Black, 99% of all investment is not going to go to you. And so the illustration I give, I was like, yo, do you really want to start a startup when you know you need an investment? And so the illustration I say is, if they told you before you boarded your flight, there was a 99% chance it was going to crash, would you do it? And that's that's the odds that we up against. There's a 99% chance. Every single person I talk to, every investment meeting I have is going to be a no. And that's what it's been. It's every single investment meeting I have, almost every single person I talk to don't invest. It's a fact. And so crowdfunding is like to the rescue, because now they allow the average person to put in an amount of money that they're comfortable with. So yeah, so that was kind of like, so what happened was I went home and I took my prototypes and then I brought them back, and I was like, man, people got to see this. And I was hoping that I can like, throw some bait out and catch an investor. So I snuck the DJ speakers into the building right at Afrotech. I pulled up a table, like I got a table, I had my business cards, I put my patents up. So I made it like it was a display, as if I had paid, because it was like a job fair, as if I was one of the sponsored companies. And I sat in the chair, people coming by asking, getting business cards and asking, can they interview and stuff. And unfortunately, not a single investor talked to me, but I had to give it a shot. And I had the speaker sitting there playing for, I don't know how many hours I was there, probably like 6 hours. I had one of the speakers playing music or whatnot. So that was the first year. Then the next year, I was like, I gotta get into Afrotech. Like this was like one of my milestones to be able to go pitch. So the next year, I just started working my system, working the network. And then I ended up getting introduced to the founders, Morgan and Aaron. And I ended up, working the scene. And then I ended up applying to it, and I got selected to pitch. And then I just wanted to pitch that first day, and then I ended up making it through the first day, and I made it past the second round, and I'm like on stage as a finalist, and I'm feeling like Rudy, like I could win, like I'm like, yes, I can win. And unfortunately, I didn't get first place, but I was top 3. So
that's what's up.
That was an experience, though. That was a milestone. I really, really wanted to be on stage at Afrotech.
That's what's up, man. To add to that, right? What skills, experiences, or people contributed to your success from your past to now?
You looking at the combination of a lot of people putting in work. So a lot of people, I get frustrated when I hear people say I, or what they did. But in reality, you didn't do anything by yourself. You trash.
Right.
If you think that you did it by yourself, you trash. I don't respect you. Because I have yet to meet a person that created themselves. You just made yourself, taught themselves, and purchased the product.
Like there's no mentorship involved. They like, I'm self-made. I got everything.
Yeah. Even if somebody, you still had customers that supported you.
Right.
It's impossible to do it by yourself. So for me, I acknowledge I've been seeking mentorship since I was young. So when I was at HP, my strategy is to go after the head honcho. So whoever is the best, if that's Yoda over there, I want Yoda to train me. I'm Luke. I see Mr. Miyagi. I'm Daniel's son. So at HP, I went after the people that were the head, like the top dogs. So Tom Benola, he was our CTO at HP. He the one who was introducing me, and Kevin Lee. They started teaching me how to file patents and helping me understand what a patentable idea is. Andy Brown was like I still call him sensei to this day. He was helping me with my software embedded skills. So like these are people that are, Mike Nicolai have helped me with my system engineering skills, how to think about a solution in a broad aspect. Like we could just go down in the hood. Danshe was the one who showed me my business acumen, how to make money. You feel me? So like, I could just go down the list, person after person after person after person that contributed. So what you see all of my ideas is the combination of everybody leaving a little piece of that information and knowledge with me. Ashley teaching me finance. So now I pop open QuickBooks, export, you know what I'm saying, my financials and be able to make financial projections. Like everything that I am today is because of the contributions that my mentors made, essentially.
Okay. How did those experiences help you look at your younger self? Like, do you appreciate yourself more? Do you feel like you pivoted a couple times in life where it was essential? Explain.
I pivoted a lot. I'm actually appreciative that I came from the hood. I'm also happy that I had the struggle, because had I had it easy, I don't think that mentally I would do the same individual. So when I look back on all of the stuff that we had to go through, like I done almost been killed a couple of times and I done been through a lot of stuff. But that I don't want to say built character, it built this individual that you see. So I'm definitely appreciative. I'm also appreciative of all the mentorship that I got on the street. Like a lot of that stuff helped me not get a felony. Like when my daddy, is the irony is that the best gift he ever showed me was how to hustle. Because by giving me the game, I ended up avoiding getting arrested until I matured enough to say, all right, now it's time to pivot. But had I not had that guidance, I probably would have got arrested and I would not have had an opportunity to mature and say, this is not what I want for the rest of my life.
Right.
So like, that's kind of like, when I think about that, man, I reminisce on stuff that I've been through and I'm like, glad I went through it.
For the future, here are some questions from our listeners, subscribers, and friends to understand like how your mind works as an entrepreneur, a networker, an inventor, and also as a leader, right? Where do you project the company or product journey from here and now?
So Audios is going to get heavily involved in the software space. One of the reasons why is that software is more appealing to venture capitalists. Ultimately, when we go to a Series A and a Series B, we're going to have some scalable software component. So the hardware, the speakers, is just a portion of what Audios is going to become. So ideally, we want to make a business that could potentially IPO, or if there's an acquisition, that there's a clear path to scalability. So that's what we're working on. And so we'll announce some of the software stuff later this year. And after April 30th, hopefully we can have the first, shipping products 6 months from then. So that's what we're shooting for to have. We're going to start the manufacturing. Of course, we got a lot. All right, so for the crowd who's listening, COVID did a lot of stuff to products. For electronics, a lot of the big companies have priority. So the lead time to get some of the electronics is longer. So even if we pay for everything right now today, we still have to wait in line. There's a line.
Right.
So Apple computers, your iPhones, your MacBooks, they're first in line. And of course, Audios is way around the corner, right? So there's going to be a natural lead time. So we hope that we can get the product back within 6 months and start selling it. But then in the meantime, when that's happening, we're going to be working on that software. We're going to do a pilot so that people will be able to test out some of the software we developed.
And I know I asked you your mission. What's the vision for the future for Audios?
For Audios to be a household name. Like, I want Audios to be synonymous with easy, high sound quality, and easy to use audio products.
Okay.
So when you think Audios, you want something that's just intuitive. I want whatever we create, I want you to know like, oh, let's just go with audio. Just like you say Google. You know what I mean? Hopefully someday you'll be thinking Audios when you want to solve your wireless issues.
Right. And as an entrepreneur, inventor, and a leader, what development tools, books, or even skills would you suggest for others use to develop?
So there's the book called The 4 Steps to the Epiphany.
Okay.
So my mentor, my ultra I don't want to count his pockets. You could go try to project his pockets, but his pockets bigger than his pockets. He gave me that book, Andy Radcliffe, and he told me to read that book, and I studied that book like it's my business Bible. I used that book, and I learned the book correlates to what I had on the streets, like stuff that I learned, but it's formalized, it's terms, it's definitions, the 4 steps of the epiphany. If you want to start a startup, if you want to start a business, that's the book you should use. And a lot of people use the lean startup, but the lean startup is like an abbreviated version of the 4 steps of the epiphany by Steve Blank.
Okay.
That's that book. If you master that book, you're good. Yeah.
And what about skills? Any skills to pick up, or any mindset? I can say that.
Your mindset has to always be. So what I do, you have to get over yourself, right? You need to humble yourself. So a part of humbling yourself is, I tell people, I don't want to hear the good. I only want to know the problem. If you ain't telling me what's wrong with what I'm doing, if you're not telling me what's wrong with the product, I don't want to conversate, because a true entrepreneur is solving problems. So when people are giving you true feedback and telling you what's wrong, as you solve those problems, eventually there'll be no problems left to solve.
Right.
What are you left with?
Right.
An amazing product. Right. So even when we go through this process, I'm looking I'm looking on IG, I'm looking at the comments, I'm looking for issues, I'm looking for challenges. So that's the advice I would get. You gotta get over your ego and become vulnerable and allow that negative feedback to come in, because that's the only way that you're gonna elevate.
Without being like,
with your product.
Without being so defensive. Like for me, I'll give you what I do. I did sales for 2.5 years, telecom. So they were just pitching fiber optics, but we were competing with people that were like stuck on a dish, couldn't get service, haven't used internet. So it was kind of like that early adopter, or that pioneer that we were targeting, because we knew the guy that was building the house and wanted everything fiber optic, everything right to the door. You know, that's the sweet spot right there. The person that's just gonna say yes to everything. They need cable, they need all the works, they need all the channels, they need all the premiums. So when I saw your company, I was like, man, I've been spending all this money on headphones. I'm not kidding you, I have 6 Bluetooth headphones. Because I the range, the feel, the amount of time I'm spending using them, and I'm back and forth with customers, and I'm like, I think one extra is I'm probably a pioneer. I'm not the guy you gotta convince to switch from a flip phone to a smartphone. You know, like I'm the one who's like, yeah, take my money, let me be first. Because that was it. That 30% of customers is usually the people that are not, they're willing to change, they're saying yes, or they don't know enough, right? And then that other 70% on that pyramid, those are the people that I'm not saying are early adopters, but those are the people that come in after everybody else buys in, because they feel like they don't want to be a guinea pig, or they waiting for somebody to Jones effect them.
Yeah, we need something, exactly.
Right.
So I want to make clear, Audios didn't invent a new type of wireless. Like the FCC regulates the frequency band, so it's 2.4 gigahertz. We didn't create a new type of wireless. Down the road, we might introduce some of our, we call it proprietary wireless. Right. But Audios is taking advantage of what's available, because the wireless industry is turning the page, right? So what we see it, we know what's coming down the road, and so we're taking advantage of it. Yeah. We do have some proprietary wireless, but we think it might be too risky to launch with it initially.
Right.
But it's that we do have something like that, but right now, the first version, we're gonna just take advantage of what's available.
Right.
So I want to make sure that's clear. But what's gonna be different is that it's gonna be the easiest thing that you ever use to like set up, and it's gonna work. It's gonna work for sure.
Right.
But that next level wireless, we working on something where we can. Our pie in the sky is that we can completely eliminate interference. So this is aspirational. So I just want to make sure that I don't want to deceive anybody to make them think that we solve the unsolvable. Interference is a real problem, but we working to try to see if we can like mitigate it for audio, but we're not there yet.
Okay.
That's like we got PhDs, like, so we got we partner with some PhDs at prestigious university, and they're working on that on behalf of audios.
Okay. So let's go to the other people that tune in. How is this product going to change the future user experience for people that are artists, creative? We can even go to architect and designers that create rooms, and also for people that are building venues. How that design and production?
Because it's battery powered. Of course, I'm not an expert in that industry.
No problem.
My first thoughts, just freestyling off the top of my head, is that you would still set up the room in the same fashion, but you would have this option to where cables are not available. Let's just say you had room A and the speakers are wired, but then you wanted to have speakers on the patio. Previously, you would have to run those cables out to the patio, but now you would have an opportunity to send a wireless signal so the speakers out on the patio could play music. So now that's starting to unlock another possibility, whether the speaker is portable, where you put it out there temporarily, or it's permanent and you still maybe power it some way, but you don't have to worry about the audio signal coming. Because that's what kills you. A power cable is like, you might just have an outlet outdoors, but you may not have the ability, but you may not want to have to run the power cable all the way to the breakout. So that's just off the top of my head. Another one is that DJing in more than one room at the same time, having that ability to play music at more than one room. We've tested that too. That won't be an initial feature because we want to do more testing, but you can control more than one room at the same time.
Wow, that's something I'm looking forward to when that comes. One more to you. Why should investors, entrepreneurs, and we can go to brand influencers or trendsetters begin working with the brands such as yours? What's in it for them?
So audios, my goal, nothing is set in stone, but our goal is to give everybody a 7 to 10x return. So we're conscious of what we're doing. We're conscious of our valuation, and we're making moves to not just we want to build a sustainable company. We want to build a company that has margins and the foundation is stable. And that way, if we get an exit or we have an IPO, the investors get a return. At the end of the day, that's the reason why the creator of Guitar Hero invested and decided to become the lead investor, because he saw our master plan and he believes that the future is bright. And then of course, Andy Radcliffe started off as my personal mentor. So he was able to see as we created our master plan, and he believes the future is bright. So I mean, those two, what Guitar Hero generated $4 billion over his lifetime.
Wow.
And so I think that he understands what could become a $1 billion company. I mean, Andy Radcliffe with Benchmark, him and his buddies, they own 12% of Uber. So that's $7 billion. They own 23% of eBay. So I think they've invested in a lot of companies. I think they kind of like, I just trust their opinion, right? I think they know how to assess something. Now, I just want to be honest though, like nothing is guaranteed, but I'm gonna give it 100.
No. I appreciate that. Because even our audience, like a lot of people ask me, I'm a crypto guy, so a lot of people you'll probably see on my profile follow me for crypto and for Forex. Because I'm from Kenya, but coming here, it's like looking at money differently for me. I'm a math guy. I did architecture, but when I start seeing businesses, companies, I have a different angle to it. A lot of people are like, yeah, it's a product. I like it. I don't like it. I'm like, just look at the numbers. You can project graphs and stuff, but you don't have to do all that calculation in your head if you understand the basic means of what the product does and if it's usable. Like, is it utility? Is it something we can continue to use, or is it something I'm going to use once in a while? And your brand, I'll just say this for my audience: if you don't invest, you gonna hurt yourself later buying it from the store. And that's where I say to myself, do I want the cup of coffee or do I want the company?
that pays me to
Yeah.
get the cup of coffee. You know, like that's my mindset on it. Like if I invest and y'all become a dividend yielding company, and I'm just putting my money back there every month, because I'm the type to average out my investments. Like even if I lose money, I add money. You know, because it's no more stock you're losing if you buy more stock, right? But a lot of people are gonna say, "Hey, I just want the product," and I'm like, "You gotta own the process." And that process, I believe in this process, and I'm not just saying it to say it. It's because I've been through headphones, Bluetooth speakers. I even have a rugged wireless speaker. Like I'm a skull candy anything. Anything they do, I've been buying. And this is the first time I'm saying I'm not buying it because it's not enough. Like, yeah, they got the party mode, but if I can do it at a bigger scale and have like my own custom home theater system without having to always run a wire here, like I build with my friend a whole bunch of wire systems, and I'm like, man, that's so many cable management, and I'm sitting there trying not to trip myself, trying to figure out which XY cable is, which red, which is blue, what's green, and then you got the optical audio, and I'm like, man, if we can just simplify it. Like I was even gonna invest in that Roku home theater system they got because the speakers built in with the smart stuff, and I'm like, I like it, but I want something that's like louder. You get me?
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
Because you can have that smart feature, but if it's not loud enough, it doesn't matter. Like I like that cinema type sound, the surround sound. You got the subwoofer running, and that's where I'm starting to say, like, if I don't even know if y'all company does that, but if I can go wireless, I'll save myself the whole time.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. When we start building consumer products, so first we gotta build. So it's just like a house. We gotta put that slab foundation,
right,
and then we can start standing the walls up.
right.
But we have to have a foundation that we can stand on, and then it's gonna be it's not gonna be like we've already built a lot of stuff that we were thinking about, like we have the prototypes. So it's not gonna be hard for us to just branch out. And I think it's gonna be a natural progression. But we have to, so we're gonna stand on the DJ speakers, that's the foundation, and then we're gonna build the walls, and we're gonna do the house, and we're gonna continue to build up.
All right. So next part, for conclusion here, so just what's your end all be all for everybody to know before we close out?
Yeah, just if you're interested in betting on a company where you have a founder who's gonna give it 1,000%, then Audios is the company for you. And we also have a track record of innovating. So how I think about it is that the opportunities for us to succeed are great because there's so many different ways that we could blow up, so to speak. Whether it's the software component, maybe it's just the speakers, then we go to home audio. There are gonna be so many different opportunities for us to blow up. So I just, I mean, that's the takeaway, you know, investing starting at $100. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. The investment window closed April 30th. The average person won't be able to invest anymore. When you do equity crowdfunding, it's a limited amount of time. So you have, from the date, you have about 30 days since this recording, and you can start at $100. You can invest up to 100 grand.
And this is not an April Fool's post, guys.
No, for sure.
This is real.
So all I can do is just tell you that I'm gonna give it 100%. You go on my IG, it's at Mr. Patents. So MRPATENTS, and then you can see my journey. Like you'll see, like, oh, he really was building this. He was really in China. He really did it. Like you'll be able to go back in history and see that I've been working at this for the past 4 years.
All right. Audios again, Erik Young. Thank you, man. I know for a fact a lot of people that you are necessarily solving a problem for. We are demanding that admiration, the attention to detail, and even your scrutiny for the venues, the audience, and the professionals who are in that industry. And I just want to say, everybody, please go and follow and support Erik Young by investing in the brand and also at BuyAudios and at Mr. Patents. And anyone looking to invest right now, it is a limited time option, $100 minimum. and the deadline is April 30th to become a part owner. I want to say it is at republic.co/audios. And I want to say thank you, Eric, again for coming on here on the Direct Mind podcast. I'm your host, Jared, and I want to extend that option to our listeners, the podcast platform, and any business network to you and your company so we can inspire future inventors, think tanks, develop product ambassadors, sponsors, and hopefully an investment pool for Audios. And you guys can follow me at JKing Direct and also at the Direct Mind on all platforms. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.